Hey folks, CB3 here with another live update for Friday, November 8th. It's taken me a little while to get this to you, but the election happened this week. As you well know, we're going to talk about it on this episode, and we're going to talk about how these changes with Donald Trump coming back into office with a Republican Senate and with a Republican House are going to affect our portfolio. Stay with us. CB3 Live Update begins now. Move over, Grover. Grover Cleveland from 1885 to 1889 and then 1893 to 1897. Grover Cleveland was the only other U.S. president to serve split terms. He was defeated for his second run, just like Donald Trump was, and he came back and won it 4 years later. And that's exactly what Donald Trump has done. But move over, Grover. Donald Trump is here. I'm expecting a lot of fireworks in the first year of this presidency, and a lot of it's going to affect our portfolios. Let's get right to that now. On my CB3 Live show, you hear me say every episode, politics is something we all hate, but politics leads to policy, and policy leads to portfolio influence, and that affects us personally. So that's why we have to discuss this. But here's what I'm seeing are the key points that Trump is going to try to influence and enact in the U.S. government. First of all, he's going to rebuild what he thinks is the greatest economy in history. There are many aspects of the growth of the U.S. economy from 2017 to 2021 that were very positive for us as investors. I think Trump will return to those policies, and you'll see those enacted, and that's one of the reasons why the stock market has reacted very strongly the 2 days after the election. The second thing is fair trade for the American worker. Trump is tired of accepting imports from countries, whether they're friend or foe. In other words, the same treatment for France and England that he gives Russia and China. He wants the American worker to be paid a fair wage and not be taken advantage of by illegal immigration. That's his point. He wants to unleash energy dominance. Before he left office, the U.S. was the #1 exporter of energy in the world. He's going to secure the border and reclaim national sovereignty. Now, what he means by that, in the first few hours of his presidency, he is going to shut the borders of the United States, and then he's going to declare war on the drug cartels, especially on the southern border, in fact, most especially on the southern border, to stop the flow of illegal fentanyl and many other drugs. He wants to stop crime, restore safety by enforcing the laws. The attorneys general in many of these cities are not enforcing the laws, and that's why there's such rampant crime in the major cities of the United States. He's rejecting globalism and embracing patriotism. Now, you can say this is a nationalistic point of view, but again, as investors, what I see is the opportunity to capitalize in certain sectors of the economy that will benefit from this. Again, I'm trying to do my very best not to make this a political expose, but I am going to do my very best to find these new areas of growth where I can invest your monies in your portfolios and see them grow. All this is to say that Trump's victory secures a major shift in U.S. economic policy, emphasizing tax cuts, trade tariffs, and potential climate rollbacks. All right, so how does this affect on taxes? Well, this is a major difference between Trump and Harris. Harris was actually expecting to increase the deficit less than Trump is, and that's because Trump sees that if we lower tax rates for the corporations, we expect to have more widgets being made in America and more tax revenue, and therefore we will not need to have higher tax rates because the quantity or the inertia of a larger economy will bring more coffers into the U.S. government. And that's how he says he can afford to drop taxes. We will see if that works. However, a full-scale implementation of Trump's tariffs could increase inflation and put the U.S. into a recession. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he wants to see inflation reduced down to the Fed's 2% target range. So the next influence is the national debt. So I think this election outcome is going to set the tone for fiscal policy that's going to affect the national debt, probably in a negative way. So his fiscal plans, which include extending the tax cuts from 2017, which were set to expire in 2025, and potentially increasing defense and infrastructure spending, are projected to significantly add to the national debt burden. And I expect that's going to happen. Okay, I think fiscal policy is likely to be tighter under a divided government, but that's not going to happen either. We're going to have everything under single party control, and that means there's going to be a lot more temptation and ease to spend higher. So how's that going to affect inflation? I think they're going to have to be very careful. If inflation ramps back up, especially under his watch, then it's going to be virtually impossible for a Republican to get elected in 2028. I expect the US dollar to gain during Trump's administration. Why? Because foreign dollars are going to come here, convert to US dollars, and it's going to push the dollar higher and foreign country currencies weaker. Expect that will happen. I'm already seeing it in the first couple of days. I'm going to talk about all these subjects more on next Thursday night's monthly CB3 Live show, but for now I want to wrap up with just a few more insights I gathered from this election. So the voter turnout was really high. They were expecting it to be strong, and it was. It was actually stronger in Republican precincts, and of all the counties that Donald Trump won, 92% of them actually had more votes for him this time than he got in 2020. So I thought that was significant. The exit polling showed key demographic swings in Trump's favor. So he won all 7 swing states. And additionally, he picked up more votes in metro areas like Chicago, New York, Boston, Los Angeles. More votes there than he had in 2020. Now, he still didn't win those areas, but you could see that the Republican turnout was higher, and I wonder what that bodes for 2028. I don't know. But it did lead to the GOP winning back the Senate control. It looks like it's going to be a minimum of 52-48, possibly 53-47, and even possibly 54-46. Some of these were seats that were vacated, but some of them were just beating out Democrat incumbents. I think in general, there's peace now because we're not getting those text messages, right? I bet you guys are tired of those text messages. I sure am. The initial response from this election has been very positive in the market. And after all, that is what I am here to do for you, which is manage your money. So I'm looking for the areas where I think we're going to be able to invest. I thought it was interesting that Tesla rose and Donald Trump stock rose the day after the election because you've probably heard that Elon Musk is going to have some sort of role in the new administration. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to get on those coattails for my investors when I figure out what the direction is. So hang with us, listen to the show again if you want to just see what the take is on where I think we're going. And then, of course, I'll have a lot more for you next Thursday night on the CB3 Live episode for November. Until then, thanks for listening. God bless America, guys. At least we got this behind us. Now let's go forward and have a fantastic Christmas season. And I will see you next Thursday night on CB3 Live.